We all saw what went down and what transpired and the results and the events that everything that led up to, and that was WWE Bash in Berlin. Now it's about your thoughts, your feedback. I want your review, your comments, your sentiments, your view of WWE Bash in Berlin. Was it a good show? Was it a top show? Was it a boring show? Was it dull? Was it uneventful? Was it unpredictable? Was it shocking? Was it heart-stopping? Was it anxiety-ridden? Were you on the edge of your seat? Could you want more? Did you want more? What would you rate WWE Bash at Berlin after the show has concluded? Or did you just bother to watch the highlights? Did you watch the show from beginning to end? Did you only watch certain matches in certain parts? What did you overall think out of, we'll do the classic 10 stars. Out of 10 stars, the rating, the review, it's up to you, viewers, fans, and subscribers. But everybody's talking about Bash in Berlin and the review and the results and everything that is in between it. However, what we might be talking about is the events that happened after Bash in Berlin. The events that went down after that show went off the air. And it's got a lot of people talking, drawing their own expressions as to, did this actually happen? Did this really happen? What would you think about this booking? Now, again, going into Bash in Berlin, there was no doubt a lot of animosity, a lot of controversy. There was a lot of back and forth. Make no mistake about it. But as your comments and your opinions roll in about Bash in Berlin, we come down to this. We are waiting for it. We are anticipating it. The invasion of AEW's Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley. This has been a hell of a hitting point. This has been going on for weeks and weeks, the debate. And then finally, it happened. It finally occurred after Bash in Berlin, after all the smoke was cleared. It was a remarkable return for Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley in AEW. The world saw it right before our very eyes. Make no mistake about it, we realized it. There's a rumor going out there that following Bash in Berlin, hours, maybe days after, a storyline could commence where, we've been hearing about it. If Moxley were to return to the WWE with an invasion, because remember, Moxley said in AEW, this is not your company anymore. If Moxley were to make an appearance in WWE, what brand would it be on? Would it be on NXT? Would it be on Raw? Or would it be on the blue brand of Fox on SmackDown? And what would be the events? What would be the occurrences following Bash in Berlin? Well, how do you follow up such an event like Bash in Berlin? Well, you do something shocking. You do something eventful. You do something unexpected. And Jon Moxley showing up not on Raw, not on NXT, but showing up on SmackDown would certainly be compelled, would certainly be interesting, would certainly intertwine and intersect. Now, that's if the WWE and AEW can formulate and get on the same page to create this storyline, to create the origins. Because as it is already, it looks like Jon Moxley is going to be taking over AEW. But how is Jon Moxley going to take over AEW? Well, it's very simple. It's going to take over with a WWE-esque invasion with former WWE stars. They are going to annihilate. They are going to castrate. They are going to dominate the AEW roster for good, bad, or indifferent, whichever way you want to look at it, whatever way you want to toss the coin. Sean's View Entertainment is not going to be coy here. I'm going to tell you the way it is. This could be one of the biggest storylines in AEW history if they can pull it off correctly. But you're going to have to involve WWE. And I'm not talking about just former WWE talent. No. I'm not talking about just that. I am talking about WWE talent. Kind of like what we got. Listen, we just saw JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. We just saw Bradshaw, John Layfield on TNA. If WWE and TNA can get a partnership and tag team together and come together to formulate all these different things, well, then that is cool. That is old school, okay? Because instead of fighting to put each other out of business, how about you fight together to make the dream come true? AEW has a pay-per-view coming up called, Wrestle Dream? Where dream scenarios, dream matches take place. They take center stage. I'm just thinking, what if at Wrestle Dream it is Dean Ambrose's led group that is WWE-esque versus AEW's group? That's just what I'm thinking in my mind. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my thought process. Listen, Tony Khan, the powers that be, Triple H, I know they've taken shots at each other. I know they've gone back and forth. And again, I don't think it's about seeing AEW go out of business. Listen, I don't want to see AEW go out of business. I don't want to see them fold. But they're not even to what WCW was in their dying days. And, maybe Vince, a lot of people are saying maybe Vince Russo could help out AEW. Because as we all know, Vince Russo has got his contractors. Well, not contractors, but Vince Russo has his doubters, his skeptics. I don't know if Russo would want a contract with AEW, so to speak. But if anybody could leverage the storyline, if anybody could better the angles, if anybody could make AEW more uplifting, it would be Vince Russo. Because as you know, Vince Russo was a part of the WWE as a head creative writer in what was one of the most successful eras in the world of WWE, the Attitude Era. Vince Russo was a big to-do behind the scenes to that. Sure, you had the characters, you had the Austins, the Rocks, the Undertakers, but the one driving the storylines, the one with the mindset to get it done was Vince Russo. Now imagine what Vince Russo could do for an invasion angle with Jon Moxley, AEW, WWE, and getting this whole thing together. If anybody has the genius, the mentality, if anybody has the brains to get this thing kickstarted, it would be Vince Russo. But would Tony Khan be willing to go to that avenue? Would Tony Khan be willing to go to that level and that length? Listen, Tony Khan has hired many former WWE and WCW stars into that company. The Stings, the Jerichos, the Big Shows, the Dean Ambroses. I mean, you look up and down AEW, and it's pretty much all either WWE or AEW, we thought AEW was going to be of new homegrown talent. Well, there is some new homegrown talent, but the majority of it is either former WWE guys, WCW guys, ECW guys, whether they're wrestling, whether they're backstage, no matter what it may be. I don't know, guys. It's just one of those things. It's all about the he said, she said bull. And we got to address all the bull that is going on behind the scenes, quite frankly. Oh, I'm still here. Don't worry. SeanzViewEnt Entertainment didn't go anywhere. The Brash and Brazen keeps you on the seat. SeanzViewEnt Entertainment will not be defeat. Your thoughts, your comments, and your opinions of AEW and WWE versus each other in this invasion, in this onslaught. It's going to be a war. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be real. But is it going to be as authentic as we want it to be? Right now, ladies and gentlemen, wrestling is at its best. Wrestling is flowing. Wrestling is glowing. And we got to keep it going. Subscribe. More to come from the Brash One. And what would you think about a storyline where Moxley, Dean Ambrose steals Cody Rhodes' undisputed WWE Championship? I mean, just imagine that for one moment. Ambrose shows up to WWE television and steals Cody Rhodes' title. Never say never.